My Lupus Living Room is a place to listen to the stories of ordinary, everyday people who are not afraid to share the struggles and successes of living with a chronic illness called lupus. These brave Lupians put it all out there to bring us all in. We celebrate people living with lupus. My name is Suzanne. I am a mom, a wife, a business owner, and the CEO of the Lupus Foundation of America's Great Ohio chapter, and a whole lot more. But most of all, I have lupus. My purpose and my passion are to help other people with lupus. For me, lupus was a lonely, miserable, misunderstood disease, and I'm here to tell you that today it doesn't have to be. I want to talk more about the things we do not normally talk about. Since lupus impacts mostly women, My Lupus Living Room will have a focus on what it's like to be a woman living with this mysterious, unpredictable disease that has no cause or cure. I know that many would love to connect with others that have lupus. These women are fearless and have extraordinary stories of survival. I'm excited to welcome my not-so-famous guests, and with their inspiring stories that offer hope and inspiration to fellow Lupians. I believe this project will not only create awareness about lupus, but offer encouragement to those listening. Remember, there is no I in the word lupus, but there is the word us. The Lupus Foundation of America, Great Ohio chapter is here for you. For your chance to share your story and visit with me, you can reach out to me at Suzanne at Lupus Great Ohio or call 1-888-NO-LUPUS. So for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hi there, welcome to My Lupus Living Room. This is Suzanne Tierney here at the Lupus Foundation in Ohio. I'm always excited to come out and share things with people and just to sit and chat and have a normal conversation off the cuff with other lupus patients. And as always, everything we say is personal. And if you have a question or concern or treatment issue, your doctor is the best source for you to have that conversation with. So this evening, I'm going to have a wonderful guest. She's been with the organization for a little while now, and she's been very active in it, and she has lupus. And I love to talk to lupus patients, especially since I'm one myself, and we have a lot in common. I'd like to get their views on things. So I want you to welcome Kelly Perhach. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too much. She's from
Perhach, but that's okay.
Perhach. She's from Shalersville, Ohio, not far from the office, but far enough. So we're doing this virtually with her. And Kelly, I'm just so excited that you took the time to have a chat with me tonight.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Wow. So you have a story. We all have lupus stories. I think it's incredible to hear other people's stories. And I know that we want to share them. And each one of us have something different to offer. And it's really about the reason I like to share is because you get so many different point of views, but yet there's a great sense of empathy that comes with everyone's story. And especially if you're a lupus patient, I want you to know you're not alone. We get it. We've been down the road. We're on the journey. And little bits and pieces we take from each other so that we can have a better quality of life. So having said that, Kelly, give us your 3-minute commercial on who you are, how you got here, and then we'll go into more detail onto your life with lupus.
Okay, well, I was diagnosed in September of 2019. I'm guessing that was like 3 years ago, right? 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I lost a lot of weight. I had bruises all over my body. I had no idea what was going on with me. So I went to the doctors and they wanted to run some blood work, the usual. And here I came back with having lupus. Actually, I have SLE. Now, don't ask me to pronounce those words because I have no idea what that, no idea.
It's even worse when you try to spell it. If you try to spell it, it's worse.
Right. Absolutely. So after I was diagnosed, they put me on different medications. And of course, I was like allergic to everything. So we finally got that taken care of. Next thing I know, I started having these little bumps all over my body. I actually looked like I had octopus tentacles, the suction cups on my fingers. It was very painful. It was itchy. Went to many different dermatologists. Finally, they figured it out. I actually have bullous lupus as well, which is a rare skin disease. That's calmed down. But the medication for that, I was allergic to that. So they had to find something else that would work for me. So, yeah, that's my journey so far. A lot of pain, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. And plus, I have fibromyalgia on top of that. So, yeah.
So, Kelly, do you have a family? Do you work? Tell me about your background.
I've been home for a year now. For work, it was just getting too much for me. I was actually a manager at Taco Bell. I was there for almost 15 years.
Wow.
My husband was sick and tired of me coming home and crying because I was in so much pain. I've been with my husband for almost 24 years.
Oh my goodness! You don't look old enough to be with him for 24 years.
Yes, 24 years, and we are actually going on 18 years of marriage. And then I have a son who is 25, and I have a daughter who's 26, and I have a grandbaby that just turned 2.
Oh, well, you're blessed. You're very blessed to have.
Oh,
so many
absolutely.
People.
That little guy keeps me going. He really does.
Are they supportive of your journey? Do they help? Do they understand? Do you need to educate them? How's that going?
Absolutely. It was rough at first. I looked at my husband and basically told him that if he couldn't handle it, leave me now, not when I need him. But he's been very supportive. He's helped me any way I can. A little too much because I am stubborn. I like to do things on my own. And it's hard to ask for help, but I'm learning that it's okay. My daughter helps out tremendously. I mean, I don't think she fully gets it. Like, she still sees me as I'm okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the issues. Usually with lupus patients, we don't look sick, but with bullous lupus, you do look like there's something wrong if you have these bumps and rashes.
Well, the bumps and rashes actually went away. They pop up here and there, but I have tons and tons of scars on my body, because they did itch, they burned, it was very painful. So I have these little white scars all over my body. And the dermatologist told me that she could give me something to help them go away, or to at least lighten them. But she said at this point, they're probably not going to get any lighter.
So where's your dermatologist out? Do you see someone in Cleveland? Where did you find this
she's
dermatologist?
Actually in New Horizon in Ravenna.
Okay.
She's very nice. Actually, right now, I'm not going to her anymore. She told me it was kind of pointless. And since I was okay right now, there's no reason for me to keep going every 3 to 6 months, because she said that it'd be kind of wasting money, for her to see me, the co-payments and all that. She told me if I get another little spot to give her a call.
Okay. So how did they diagnose this? Did they do a biopsy? Was it a visual diagnosis?
They did. The first biopsy that they came across basically just said medication. Now, that's kind of hard when you're on so much medication to figure out which one is causing this. Well, we couldn't figure it out. We even went down to my vitamins to see if that's what was causing it. We went through all the rigmarole, everything like that. So she ended up sending me over to, I believe it was in Bedford, to another dermatologist. And they did 2 more biopsies, and that's when they found out I had the bullous lupus.
So I want you to tell our audience what is a biopsy? What does it entail? What did you go through?
Well, I will tell you this. I have red pigments in my hair, so therefore nothing numbs me. It's like when you're taking a simple Tylenol, that does nothing for me. I have a very high tolerance to pain medication. So when they numbed me, I could still feel everything. I think I squeezed my husband's hand so hard that I'm surprised I didn't break it. But I wouldn't watch what they were doing. I was scared, but I do know they sit there and scrape, and they actually indented me to take a sample of my skin. So that little bump that I had, because they wanted to take a fresh bump, they would actually sit there and like scoop it out. To me, it's like an ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
It was very painful. And I have to tell you.
So is this on your arm? Where was it at? Where did they do this at?
One was on my knee and one was on my back.
Okay.
And that was the first time I've ever had stitches, let me tell you.
Oh, you had to have stitches for. So I haven't had a biopsy, so I'm trying to figure that one out.
Yeah,
wow.
You had to have stitches.
So yeah, I'm really impressed that you found a dermatologist who can identify it, because through the years, through my journey, the challenge was finding a doctor who really understood lupus or discoid lupus. So I'm really thrilled that you found a physician that was on top of it and knew what they were looking at. That good for you. Good for you.
Well,
so
it was actually them who told me to go to Bedford. So, I'm just glad that we figured it out, and I wasn't so swollen and I wasn't itchy and my skin wasn't burning.
And what did it do to your hair? Anything?
Now the bullous lupus did not affect my scalp at all, which was really weird. I didn't have any bumps or anything on it, but the actual SLE, the lupus I can't pronounce, my hair was actually falling out.
Right.
I cannot dye my hair anymore. I can't put chemicals on my hair, nothing. So of course, as you've seen in pictures, I've had purple hair.
Yes.
I actually found a coloring that has no chemicals, nothing, and it washes right out. So kind of happy about that. But I do, like, in the front of my scalp, I am losing my hair, and what are you going to do? I'm still here. I'm still alive, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah. So a lot of us have hair problems, including myself. I've been wearing my bangs forward. Usually I would wear them back, but my top and my crown have become so thin. And when I brush my hair, I always get a handful. And I have a history of cosmetology. So I used to be a beautician too. So I do know that certain things, like, you really need to watch the chemicals on your hair. They have come out with some solutions today that can help you. Ask your doctor first. I think it's an internal issue. Some of us have vitamin B12 deficiencies. I know many of us take biotin. Some of us have upped our game in folic acids and in Bs and natural vitamins to try to help with our hair and our nails. And I think one of the other issues too is most of us don't just have lupus. We have other things that come along with it. Like thyroid disease or Sjogren's disease or fibromyalgia, which all cause hair loss. And, we didn't even talk about stress and anxiety, which we just get the stress and the anxiety from having the disease and trying to manage it. But, it's interesting because you don't look sick. Okay. I don't look sick. But when you said you had bullous lupus, I had visions of you having lumps or visual things, because people with discoid lupus, especially people of color, they have pigmentation change. It looked like leprosy. For many years, they thought it was leprosy. So the good news is with discoid lupus, there is a new drug on the horizon. And I'm real excited to have lived this long to see the new drugs come to fruition, because we've worked for so many years to get pharmaceuticals, to get drugs approved through the FDA. So there's a manufacturer, I think it's called Horizon. They have one coming up, and they're looking for people who want to be part of a study. So as soon as we get that information and approval from our medical board, I'm going to push it out, because I think it's important for us to participate in these studies. Because if we don't, who's going to do it? Who's going to? No one else is going to do it. So, yeah, but I did notice the purple hair, and I wondered if you had a challenge with that. They do have some natural products now that are better and that aren't as harsh on the hair. And I would tell you, the hair is one thing, the scalp is another. So when you put these hair dyes on your hair, be careful how long you leave it on your scalp, because your scalp, it's where the follicles breathe and break up. And when you brush your hair, you should hold it and brush down. All right. If you're just going to pull and brush, you're going to pull it. It's just, they do pull tests all the time, and you're going to pull it out. And don't brush it don't brush it as often as you would like. Just tips that I have learned through the years. And, I've always had my crowning glory. And now that it's thinning out, and, I'm sure I'm all gray by now too, but I do still color it, but I'm very careful as to what kind of products you use. And check with your beauticians. They have all kinds of wonderful natural products that aren't as harsh. The color may not last as long, but at least you can still get your hair done.
Absolutely. But to be honest with you, I'd rather have my silver hair. My
Oh,
whole head's silver. I would love it.
I'll bet I am as white as snow. I bet I am.
Well, I was very blessed. My grandmother had all silver hair, but
Oh,
she would dye it
wow.
black.
Yeah.
So, and I went to my mom. I'm like, how did I have this silver hair? I don't have gray hair. And
Oh,
she's like, your grandmother. I
your
go,
grandmother
oh,
has it.
okay.
There you
Well,
go.
thank you, Grandma.
Well, some people sport it beautifully, and I'm awful envious of them, but I'm not going to, I don't think I can champion that. I also have an identical twin, so she wouldn't be happy about that at all, because we do kind of switch places every once in a while still. It is convenient for us.
Absolutely. That'd be nice.
So SLE means systemic lupus erythematosus. Okay.
Okay.
Took me years to say it. I took speech lessons until I was 20 because I had a problem with my S's. And I really championed it. It took me a long time. But SLE or lupus, when I ask people what type of lupus do you have, they just say lupus. I think many don't understand that there's different types of lupus. And the fact that, you have discoid lupus and you know the difference, and you have both. And not all the time do you have both. So who treats you? Who do you see, or do you see a rheumatologist for your systemic lupus erythematosus?
I do see a rheumatologist. Now I'm going to murder her name. I know I will. It's
Well,
Dr. Amanda Lamopoulos.
I'm
She's
familiar.
Yeah, she's in Hudson.
Yeah.
She's located in Hudson. She's very nice. She makes you understand. It's just, I have a tendency of looking stuff up on the computer when I get my blood work before talking to her. And that is a no, no, don't do that. Because I've called her office many times freaking out. And she's like, it's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. It's nothing to worry about. So I've learned long time ago, do not look up stuff in the computer at all. But
We are
I will tell
so
you,
we're guilty. We're all guilty.
we are. We are. And when I first was diagnosed, I had no idea what lupus was. I've never heard about lupus. No one talks about it. So I started doing some research, and that's how I came across you guys.
Mhm.
Um, my goal now is just to educate, get the word out. It's no one knows. It's not as big as all these other
No.
what I don't know the word I'm looking for,
Uh,
organizations to
mhm.
spread awareness.
Right.
And we all need to come together and get the word out
Right.
so
We
we
need to
can
do
get
there is no I in lupus, there is the word us. Okay. So remember that.
absolutely
Yeah, remember that. So here's why here's what's going on. When lupus came along, we came along way after breast cancer, heart disease, all these diabetes, and they came up with this lupus, and it was considered an orphan disease for many years. All right. And we never had that lead famous person to champion it, like a movie star. Uh, I also say I wish we had for a while they thought Michael Jackson had it. And I thought, wow, wouldn't he bring awareness to lupus? Or they thought there's several stars they thought had it. And then they pulled
right.
back. They pulled back. But wouldn't it be wonderful we had that spokesperson to bring the attention to it? We never had big stars like that.
Absolutely. We need a bigger voice than ours. Does that make sense? We need
Yeah,
we need somebody in the
We need a
media.
Michael J. Fox is what we need.
Yeah, we need
That's what we
something.
need. But until then, we do the best we can. So we're considered a grassroots organization. That means people like you, myself, our family, our friends came together and said, we need to make a difference. What can we do? So we all rallied together and said, okay, we're going to have meetings. We're going to talk about lupus. We're going to create some information. We're going to make some education materials. We're going to gather. And that's how we started. So we still remain small. But even though we're small here in Ohio, we have one of the biggest chapters in the nation. Our little chapter, what we do, you would be really impressed with. I know I'm impressed with it, and people we speak to are impressed with us because we really move the needle. In education, awareness is huge. If people don't know lupus, we're not going to have no lupus. So that was a campaign we used for 2 years. I absolutely love it. No lupus for no lupus. And we need to keep pushing that out. The other campaign we did is, could you have lupus? And we put a quiz with it. And we just did that last year on all of our billboards and on our social networking. And I can't tell you the number of people that have taken that quiz out of curiosity. It's huge, beyond what I ever thought it would be. So we do have people talking about it, but we have much more work to do. And with little resources, it's hard to do. This podcast is new. Our blog is new. Our website is new. I don't know if you saw the digital magazine. You were in it. Weren't you in the digital magazine? Yes. That goes out to quite a few people, and you could spread it. You can share it. And that's exact.
Yes.
Yeah. We made it about real people with lupus. And we talk about things that are going on, but our hope is that you share it, your family shares it, and then more people will get to know lupus.
Absolutely. Because if we don't tell our story, then no one knows. And the biggest thing I want to say, we are not alike. There is not one person who is alike that has lupus. Yeah. But the one thing we do have in common, we can all be there for each other.
It's true. That's true. So I call us snowflakes. All these beautiful snowflakes, and not one of them are alike. They're all different.
All different.
Everyone's different. So my lupus can be different than your lupus. So when we have support groups come in and they start sharing their stories and they go, but I have this and I have that. And it all falls under the lupus umbrella. Know that I said this to you, maybe in a year or two or more, they're going to start looking at lupus as a spectrum of diseases. Because not only do we just usually have lupus, we have its brothers and sisters. There's many other categories that fall under it. Many of us have multiple challenges. So we don't walk around and say, I have Sjogren's, I have fibromyalgia, I have scleroderma, I have Raynaud's, right. I have high blood, it's a spectrum of diseases. And what they're trying to do is treat the symptoms for each of the problems. So yeah. We have new meds on the horizon. We had 3 new meds this year that came through. So excited for people with lupus nephritis. I had no clue that 50% of our constituents who have lupus kidney issues, which are huge, huge problems. When the kidneys don't function, you don't function. And usually they don't know they don't function until it's aggressive. So, they have a new campaign out there, and I think it's called Pee in the Cup or something like that. Because usually when we go to the doctors, we always have to pee in the cup. Make sure you do that. Make sure they take that test. Make sure you do that. So you're going to see a campaign coming out for that. And there is, there's 2 new drugs for lupus nephritis, kidney involvement, and we're real excited about that. Good. It took a long time to get it. And now, coming up with there's Minority Health Month coming. There's advocacy coming. So we do advocacy here in the state of Ohio, and we do it nationally. So I would encourage you to anyone who's listening, if you're a patient, right now you can go to lupus.org or even to our website and look up the advocacy initiative, and you can actually be a part of change, because coming up at the end of April, we're storming the hill. We're going to Washington. You can go in person, which is expensive, or you can do it virtually, and you can give your story to your legislators, because they're the ones who are going to move the needle for the money for NIH, CDC, for all the big possibilities for research. We need them to give us the money to find the cause and the cure. What we do here is so small compared to what they're calling is. We're depending on our national organization to find the cause and the cure. And we support them. We speak with one voice. But our little chapter doesn't have the ability to do it. But we do have the people who can contact their legislators to make that happen. So if you think you want to do something, it's a simple task. You can do it from your living room. You can sit online and they'll hook you up with your legislator and you can give your story and why you think they should support the research that we need to get done. So that's coming up at the end of April.
Nice.
Yeah. So what else would you like to tell your fellow Lupians out there? What did you learn that you didn't know?
Never give up.
There you go.
You may think the whole world is against you, and you may feel like you just want to crawl in a hole and die. But never, ever get up or give up. Not only do I fight the 2 different kinds of lupus, I have Hashimoto's, fibromyalgia, anxiety, depression. People, yes, you may lose a few people. I'm not going to lie. I've lost a few friends, but your friends and your family that stick by your side, those are the people who care about you. But never give up. That's the truth. And I'm going to tell you, don't be stubborn like me. Do not. I am a very stubborn person. It's okay to ask for help. And yes, I am still learning that, but I am getting better.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard. You hit a very important point, though, that I like to talk about. And it's like, we do lose friends. We do lose many of our constituents share that once they're diagnosed, they lost friends. And it's like, why would that happen? And the reality is I think your friends are afraid to talk to you about it because they don't know what it is. And so
Right.
they don't know what it is. And they're afraid to misstep, so they just walk away, which is even more hurtful. I know that many people in my support group said, well, after I do manage the strength to go to work, then they want to go out at nighttime. And I can't go to the bar anymore and drink and hang out with them. Or I can't go to the beach or be in the sun, or I don't have enough energy, or I don't know how I'm going to feel that day. And if I commit, and then I bounce out. And so I think our friends need to know that we're still here. Okay, we have some challenges, and I'm happy to explain them to them. But I don't think they should walk away from us because I think they just don't know what to do with this. They don't know what it is.
Right. They don't understand. And, my experience was that I was too much of a downer. Well, I'm sorry, but I just found out, I was just talking to my friend to help me get through this, and to process it, and for them just to walk away and stop.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, about almost a year later, that person came back into my life, but we are not as close as we used to be. That really hurt. Yeah. I don't have resentment or anything like that, but it's hard. It's hard when people don't understand that you can't go party all day. You just can't. Just because I look fine on the outside, I'm not okay on the inside.
Sure. One of the other things I learned from 2 members of my group is they were pretty cordial for a long time, and they kind of separated. And I thought, gee, what happened here? Because they're about the same age. It's like, what happened there? And it was exactly that. All the one did was complain. All she did was complain. And what I realized is she complained to her friend because she didn't have anybody else who would listen to her. She didn't have anybody else who cared. And she would just unload because she had a need to unload.
Right.
And the other one said, I have my own problems and I don't do that to other people, so other people shouldn't do that to me. But that goes to the fact that we're all different. And there is a place, I encourage people all the time. Our families aren't the best ones to unload to. All right. And especially husbands, and I'll tell you why. and as soon as God gives me a minute and the staff has time, they're going to help me. We're going to do a caregivers project. All right. Because I'm guilty of this. I'll work all day, and God bless my husband. He holds me up and does a lot of things for me and allows me to work. Because when I come home, I'm ruined. My hands are swelling up as we speak. But then if I don't, then it starts. Pain starts in my neck. It starts in my back. It starts in my hand. And we're trying to watch TV and my legs are going up and down. And all I'm doing is complaining. And he loves me. He doesn't want to see me in pain. He doesn't want to see me suffer. I'm my own worst enemy because if I would just take a couple of breaks, and I keep throwing all this at him. I see us in the support groups. I see that if spouses come in, we throw it at our spouses because they're the ones who listen. They're the ones who love us. But honestly, they don't know what to do with it. They really don't know what to do with it. They're taking it, but I'm worried about those that love us.
Right.
Because I think we're giving them more. We're giving it to them, expecting them to do something with it, and they don't know what to do with it. So now we're frustrated, they're frustrated, and the divorce rate is 50%. And I just wonder, yes, we do complain because it hurts. We're miserable. We there's that old saying, misery loves company. That's why support groups work. All right, because at least you can share with each other and you're empathetic with each other. And I think that's the place where you should probably have those unloads and try to minimize those. Because even though Bill is wonderful and your husband is wonderful, I feel like I'm beating him up sometimes because I'm taking my baggage and I'm giving it to him.
Oh, right.
I have this
Absolutely.
cart I'm pulling, and then I go home and I start unloading. It's like, okay, I'm done. I can't. I hurt. And I'm giving it to him. And it's like, well, what the heck's he supposed to do with it now? So I
Absolutely.
caution our listeners to that because some of us do have support, and we need to be careful and cognizant of we may need to give them a break once in a while.
Well, I always tell my husband, always, I feel like such a burden. I really feel like a burden to him. And then I start crying. He tells me that I wish I could take all your pain away,
It's love.
and I do. I don't like to depend on people. I really don't, but it's
Well,
something that I
our
have to learn.
spouses, what is it? Through thick,
He's
thin,
my
and
strength.
everything. He's your
Yeah.
strength. But I have to learn to back off every once in a while. And even some of the people that I see here, it's like, oh boy, I need to do an interception here. Okay, the load's getting big. We want to share the load, but sometimes we got to watch who we give it to. And I think
Right.
that's what happens with our friends. They care about us. They want to have fun with us. They don't know how to help us. Instead of them learning about it, they just shy away.
Mm-hmm.
So, the next time you have a friend, we got that great magazine. I'd be leaving that out. I'd be laying in it. I'd be copying it to all my friends and saying, this is what lupus is. And there's some good stories. There's some, your story had, it's not a doom and gloom story. You survived.
Right.
You're surviving. I'm surviving. Do we have a shadow in the room? You see a shadow in your room?
It's my husband is going to pick up our daughter and he has the grandbaby because he's feeling under the weather.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's trying to keep him calm.
Well, we thank him for his cooperation this afternoon. How's that? And
Yes,
you came to the walk. You came to the walk. You were a big participant.
I did. We raised over
Yeah.
$2,000 and I have a
Yeah.
couple of fundraiser ideas that I'm very excited about. And I kind of want to exceed my goal from last year.
Well,
I'm
good for
ready.
you. Good for you. Yeah. You had a crew. You did, that's the other thing. The walk, yes, we raise money and we need the
Yes.
money. People don't give to lupus. It's very seldom. It's very difficult to raise money for lupus. So we go to our fellow Lupians to see if they can do peer-to-peer fundraising. It's a challenge to get corporate dollars. We have been blessed actually with some pharmas lately because they had drugs approved. And the fact that we were able to get a line item in our state budget, we're the only state who did that. Okay. And we took a bus of lupus people to our state capital in purple one day and we went to visit all of our legislators. And we're getting ready to, Adrian and I are getting ready to hit the road on Thursday to start going to our legislators again. So you do make a difference, and your impact's important. Your impact's important. We're very
Everybody's is. I mean, if I, like I said earlier, if I could just spread the word and impact one person, that one person could tell another person and impact them and just keep it going, and we could change the world, the views on lupus and what we go through. It's a very touchy subject to me. Like I said, before I was diagnosed, I had no clue. I didn't know what it was. I was researching everything and anything, and another thing, like on the webs, you don't know what's true and what's not true, So I went to a reliable source. I went to you guys, and I have to say, without you guys and my family and some friends, I wouldn't probably be here today.
Oh.
I mean, in the beginning, it was a real struggle. It really was. But, I got help.
I got to say good for you, because your statement that you just made, I didn't tell her to say this, but she said it better than
she didn't.
I didn't tell her to say this, but Mr. Google is not your friend, okay?
It's not.
He's not your friend.
It's really not.
You need to watch where you go on the internet, and you need to know what is the validated source, all right? You can go on the website, and there'll be all kinds of stuff about lupus, but the Lupus Foundation of America is the nation's leading source for the latest and most accurate information there is about lupus. And if you're going to start wander off in these other places all over the place, especially when you get your medical lab test and you're going to try to interpret it,
right?
No, you are not a doctor. You cannot interpret that blood test, and you're going to go read it here. I mean, I can't tell you. Every 6 months, I go to my rheumatologist, and I just went, and my blood work came back, and it's a mess. It's a mess. And I'm thinking, is she going to call me? Is she going to call me?
Right.
I got a call from her today, from her assistant, and said, your blood work's okay. Don't read it. Don't worry about it. You're under control. And I'm thinking, that's not what it said. But we can't interpret that.
Right.
Okay, we can't interpret
I absolutely know what you're talking about. It's very like I was sitting next to my phone constantly when I was waiting for my blood work. And then what I would do is the 3 months before that, I would compare my blood work from 3 months ago to this to see where my numbers were. And I had to write all down.
Oh, I did the same thing.
I wrote it all down. And I told my husband, I'm like, oh no, this went down. This is in the red. This is that. And he's like, calm down. I'm like, I was freaking out. And again, she told me, stop. So I stay away from my phone. I shut off my notifications for that. I don't even go look. The only one I'm really concerned is my white and my red blood cells, and if my kidneys and liver is good. That's really all I want to know. But it's like your heart sinks to your stomach. It's scary.
So many of us use My Chart, or UH has a My Chart. Most of these places have these charts. And when you see that little explanation thing, or if it's in red, it's like,
Exactly. And then you're like, what is that? So you're Googling what it is and what's this. Just stop.
Oh my God.
It's not worth it. If you're concerned, just call the rheumatologist office, wherever you go. And I'm sure they'll tell you it's okay, because I'm going to tell you, if you don't hear from them, you're good. If you hear from them and they tell you to go in or come back in, you got a problem.
Yeah.
So I've learned. It took me a while, but I have learned.
Oh my God. And then some of them I won't open because I'm afraid of, the next link to the next link. I'm thinking, okay, this is getting deep. And now I'm getting anxiety. I have chest pains. Get myself sick and all worked up.
Your heart's beating. You get sweaty palms. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. With us having lupus, we should not drink, so we have to be careful with that. As my doctor would tell me, 1 equals 3, and make sure she doesn't black out. That's what they tell my husband.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, you can't even have a drink to calm your nerves. before you see your test results, you know?
Oh God. It's fun to share with you because I can absolutely understand what you're going through because it happened to me. It just happened to me this week. It was like, oh my God, everything's red. It's a mess. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
It's like, Suzanne, you've been dying for 30 years already. When I was 27, they told me I was going to die. Get your stuff in order. And I sat there and waited and waited and waited. And that's a whole nother story. My testimony is another story from another time. But I think I'm going to be 71. 71. I don't know. My twin lies so much. I'm not sure how old we are anymore. We're up there. We're up there.
Well, you don't look like it, but I will say you are my birthday buddy. We share the same day.
Oh my God. You're about balance. You're about balance.
Yes.
I share my birthday with so many people. It's like, what happened that month? It must have been a wintry time or something. So I have four siblings. We all have the same birthday. Okay. Of course, two of us are twins. And actually, the CEO, she just retired. Her birthday, we shared the same birthday. So a lot of October birthdays. We're supposed to be about balance. I'd have to ask my staff that question. I don't think they would agree with that one.
Yeah,
But
I have none.
yeah. Well,
Zero.
so we're trying to plan the walk. So as soon as we
Yes.
find a venue, which is a challenge, every year it's a challenge. They keep raising the price of the venues, and it's like, guys, we're nonprofit. So
Right.
last year was the first year we did it downtown like that. It was cute, but usually we can do a better job. Okay,
Well, it
so
was so nice. The Hoffer House, that was the first time that I was there,
me too, me
and I
too.
absolutely loved it.
Oh
Um,
yay!
my plan was only to do like a mile.
Okay.
My cousin, Craig, who was actually, I made him be the captain and fill out everything
Yes,
for
yes, I
me.
met him. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
that is my cousin he is like a brother to me. He really is. He's like, come on, I would really like for you to do too. And between him, my husband, my girlfriend Melanie, and Craig's fiance Erica, they pushed me, and they were there, and they're right beside me every step of the way.
Yeah. Well, it
it,
was a
it was
great
great.
day. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. It was a sprinkle. And I had not been downtown for COVID in years. To see the chandelier and walk past the playhouse and everything. I know we went back in and ate at the Opera House.
Mhm.
Um, it was great seeing. We had over 300 people show up, and we didn't know if anybody would come. So
It was really nice. That was the first time I did the walk.
Oh, well,
So,
we've done
yeah.
it much bigger. We've had much bigger. And look, I'm just grateful those who did come out. And a very small number of captains raised a lot of money. They did a great job, and we needed it. It was a rough year. So I look forward to you being the team captain next year because you kind of confused me when I reached
What?
out to him because I thought he had lupus. That's why I remember you.
No,
You're
no,
so
he was doing
cousin.
everything for me because I am not, computers and me don't get along sometimes.
Okay, I understand that.
So I had him do it, but he did pick our team name.
Yeah.
That was all him.
Okay, and share your name.
It was just a little loopy. And I'm sure we're going to be doing that this year as well because it just fits all of us.
Yeah.
But yes, I had him, and he's been a rock in my support through all this, things that I couldn't tell my husband because I was scared. He was there, listened to me, supported me, and said, you need to tell him. I had some recent news that I will share with you because my family knows now, and my husband knows. My rheumatologist told me I have 6 months before I'm in a wheelchair.
What's
My
going on?
legs have gotten really weak. Well, I went to go see my primary care physician. He told me not 6 weeks, try probably about a month.
What's going on with your legs?
Um, they're burning, they're hurting. I have to grab a hold of everything. I'm in tears half the time. I need help with different things, my daughter, my husband cleans the house. It's very hard. I try to do exercises and I just cry because it hurts so much.
Mhm.
And another thing is I am on 3 different medications right now that put so much weight on me that they told me exercise is pointless at this moment. It's not going to do anything. I'm already down to a 1,200 calorie diet. You know, there's like nothing I can do to lose weight. And they said it's the pills that I'm on. There's nothing. So I have it in me that I will not be in a wheelchair.
There you go.
I will fight that also.
Mhm.
I'm not going to give up.
Yeah.
I will die before I give up.
So I just want to share with you. So when I became sick in my journey, I was only 9, and I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. Okay. And I remember them picking me up and carrying me places. I missed a whole year of school. I couldn't walk. And then I had another episode. I was in a wheelchair for a while, in a nursing home for a while. Um, these are peaks and valleys of flares. There's something other that may be going on. There's other things like myasthenia gravis. I'm wondering if they're looking at that as well. I know very few people who can't move because of lupus, unless the steroids have just sucked the life out of their bones. Because long term steroids, as much as we like being on steroids, they make us feel better. The effect it has on our bones, it could be devastating.
Mhm.
But there's so many new biologic drugs that are out there, and I don't know what you're on, but I wouldn't give up. Okay. And I think that, again, you're on a journey with peaks and valleys. And, if I said that I never thought I'd live to be this age, I certainly never thought I'd be doing this. Um, God has a plan, you know.
Yes,
God has a
he
plan,
does.
and He puts it in front of you, and you're just going to champion whatever He gives you. But don't stop looking for that doctor who can help. I didn't. I was accused of doctor hopping, going here, going there. Um, but, you know, sooner or later, you find someone who has a formula that's going to give you a better quality of life. They may not cure you, okay, but the treatment
Right.
plan can give you a better quality of life. So that's my wish for you. Keep searching. Modern medicine is moving very faster than I ever thought with lupus right now.
Hmm.
Um, and I would look, see what other types of medications are out there. I'm not sure what's going on with the legs. I know that your tissues can be involved, and some of our medications are problems, but it could be a sister disease like myasthenia gravis, because I know many lupus patients who have gotten that. So I don't want you living there in fear of this. Okay,
No.
you're gonna champion this, or maybe it's a setback, but you got to fight in you. You got
Oh,
to you
yeah.
got you got to fight in you,
Um,
and that's what we do, and we do it together. But keep searching to get answers. Stay with the rheumatologist and have them keep searching, and join the advocacy initiatives. Tell them you want a cause or a cure, so we can have a better handle on this. And I expect to see you at many walks. I may be in the wheelchair by then because I'm getting so old, but I
oh,
expect
stop it.
to see you at the walks.
Stop it.
So our time is up, and I simply thrilled. I love talking to my fellow Lupians. It's actually one of the best parts of my day, and I want to thank you for joining me this evening, and to our audience again for information about how to best treat your lupus. I want you to have that conversation with your doctor and know that this is a casual sharing conversation that we're having. And if you'd like to share your story and your journey and your ups and your downs, feel free to contact the Lupus Foundation at 1-888-NO-LUPUS, or visit us online at www.lupusgreaterohio.org. Until then, I will see you at the walk, or I'll see you
Yeah.
at the Capitol Hill. But one thing's for sure, we're going to do this together, because there is no I in the word lupus, but there is an us. You take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye. Remember, there is no I in lupus, but there is an us. Until next time, this has been My Lupus Living Room with the Lupus Foundation of America's Great Ohio Chapter. For more information and resources to help you in your lupus journey, please visit lupusgreaterohio.org or call 1-888-NO-LUPUS. The funding for My Lupus Living Room is an earmark from the state of Ohio and managed by the Ohio Department of Health. Your physician is the best person to help you in the treatment of lupus. The information you learn here today can be discussed with your doctor, as your physician knows your medical history best. Please do not make any medical changes without consulting your physician first. As with any treatment, stay educated and get information from trusted sources.